It only seemed like last year that I got this bloke on the phone, and he is back again to have a chat about album number 10, The Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit. Sam Carter from Architects, welcome back to Wall of Sound.
A pleasure. A pleasure. It's always great to be on Wall of Sound. I love it. I love you.
I love you more, mate. Let's just say I love you this whole entire time. But look, you put out an album last year. It was fantastic. You did a whole bunch of shows in the UK for that. You did the live stream, you did the Abbey Road editions, and now you're moving on to a new album straight away. Not even 24 months since the release of the last one. What's the intentions behind releasing an album so soon?
Just showing off, really.
So all of these songs have been backed up. You know, I guess everyone's releasing all this music because of COVID. Is this just another situation of you guys knuckling down during that period?
Yeah, well, we finished For Those That Wish to Exist, or at least writing For Those That Wish to Exist, just after the last time we were in Australia. So we had, yeah, all of that there. Then we went to Bali after Unify. And then we finished off the record writing together there. And then at the start of the lockdown, we were ready to record. So when we were allowed to actually go into studios again, we all went. It was all separate. Like Dan went into the drums by himself. I tracked all the vocals with just me and Dan. But we got the record finished. And luckily it was okay because we didn't really need to be around each other because we had been around each other for
that time,
for the whole writing period, right? So then when it got to the end of that, there was still a whole lot of time in lockdowns and not being able to play shows and venues being shut. So we just carried on. We just carried on writing and carried on sort of working the way we had been. And yeah, that was just our way of staying active and staying sane, I guess, because we didn't have anything else to do. So yeah, we just kind of secretly got on with the record and I guess didn't really have any sort of deadlines or anything to meet. No one knew it was happening. It was just we were just doing it. So yeah, man, it was really fun, and you know, it's funny like surprising people with another record, but they're like, "The fuck, you haven't even played our country yet. Why are you releasing another record?"
That's exactly that, and a question that I've got to lead into, like when We Were Young dropped, and I lost my shit going, what the fuck is going on? Like we haven't seen For Those That Wish to Exist, we haven't seen any of those songs in Australia yet, and you're already moving on to new music. That was part of an album. That's what you guys said online. So. Because of the fact that you're moving into new material already, how does that change your show for the international fans that you haven't had the chance to play for yet, or play those songs from Those Who Wish to Exist?
Well, I think one thing's for sure. I don't think we'll be releasing a record that quickly, like this time.
Again,
I think you know now everything's kind of opened up properly. We're going to be able to do like tours, you know, and it'll be nice to be able to. Yeah, really juggle the set list. I think when you actually do an album tour, you know, you have one album to play with, you just whack the singles in the fuel for that. But you know, the joy that we have now is we have two albums worth of being able to do that. So we can go to places a couple of times and jiggle the set list and make it more fun for us as well. But yeah, it's interesting, man. It's going to be fun. I think there's going to be longer sets as well. I think I'm going to be pushing myself more than I normally we do kind of 19 songs in a set, which is pretty full on, but we're gonna go maybe a little bit more. We're gonna try it. But yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun. It's one of those things where you're like, I think if you're being creative, it's really hard to just stop and just turn that off.
Exactly.
We felt in a really good spot, and we felt like we really hit our stride. So yeah, we just fucking went for it.
Well, absolute fucking testament to you guys, because more Architect songs are better than no Architect songs. So, you know, it's always a positive when you would look at it in that angle. Now, with this new album, we've already spoken about the last one, so let's move on to the next one. So far with the singles that we've heard, with Tear Gas, with Deep Fake, there's a lot more usage of Josh Middleton this time around, especially with those heavier metal guitars. And for those who know him in Silosis, they know that that's where his metalness shines, I guess you could say. Did a lot of that kind of experience with Silosis play into this Architects record?
I mean, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like it's not. I don't know if it's like a thing that he would have consciously brought. I think he likes. I think what helps is the record's darker. I think, and that, like as you say, like that leans more into like that sort of world. I think he's just fucking great at writing riffs.
He's
He's just
good,
like
yeah.
he's a fucking machine, man. And yeah, it's really cool to kind of like see him writing these kind of riffs. You know, like on I kind of always think about like really big, like popular riffs, kind of like almost like CKY and like I don't know, like catchy kind of big riffs. And I always feel like Josh is really good at getting them out. You know, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel he's got an ear for dark, kind of technically brilliant riffs, but also being able to make them quite palatable as well. You know, and not be too abrasive. Um, yeah, he's clever with it. He's really clever with it. But I think him and Dan together are just a good team.
Yeah, and we've noticed this over the plethora of albums that have come out so far. You're just honing in on these different kind of styles, different kind of elements. With this new album in particular, there aren't as many screams in there, but like you're saying, it's a dark record. The last one, when we spoke about it, it was about the message that we're sending to the planet, how we're destroying it and we need to act now, the window's closing. So what are the messages and themes surrounding the classic symptoms that fans should listen and I guess take on board before they listen to the album the whole way through?
We're fucking fed up.
Yep, yep,
We're
yep.
fucking fed up. It's like
Good,
it's
good.
fucking it's yeah, it's similar to what we were talking about on the last record, but it's like we're still fucking. It's not going anywhere. It's not changing. Nothing's happening. The people that are still in control and make the decisions on everything are still in control and make the decisions on everything. We're not doing anything. And I say that as in we, as in everybody. We're not doing anything. We're just sitting there and going like, "Oh no, that's a shame."
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
no. Do you know? I really like this planet, but I guess if I've got to do anything, then I guess I'll just let it die. But I think this record's yeah, it's the sound of people that are just a bit broken. Like it really is. It really is exactly what the record is. It's just not all the time can you be ready to fight and spread this positive message and need for change because sometimes you look around and you're like, I'm just fighting a losing fucking battle, and you feel exhausted. And I think it's just important to take that time to feel shit and to recharge and relax and be ready to fight when you can fight and talk about the things that are important when you can. And I think this record's there really to kind of soundtrack that kind of, I guess, like sort of heartbroken, fed up, side of everyone's lives where they're just going, I love this place so much. I love the world so much. I love animals so much. It's, yeah, it's hard.
It's something that you can listen to, and when in those moments where you are feeling defeated, know that it's not the end of it's not the end of the world yet, but it's a moment where
Yeah.
you can sit there and take it in, and then get back on that horse when you're ready to fight again, I guess.
Yeah, it's also just it's there to kind of make people not feel as alone in it because I think there's a lot of the majority of news is bad now.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
It's and it is it can feel really scary and lonely and yeah, I think it's a record for yeah people that to know that they're not alone in how they're feeling.
For those who are going to listen to this album, and we know it's going to happen, and I'm not going to pay attention to people who have difference of opinions because there is such an evolution in the music industry right now. We've seen the bands that we've grown up listening to for the past decade and beyond go on to release albums that change direction and focus on more synth, more orchestra, more, backing kind of sounds, and that's kind of like what you're doing with this album alongside what Parkway have done, what Slipknot have done, Bring Me have done, Beartooth have done, all the way to Enter Shikari too. Why is it important for architects to always constantly change what you're doing and not just stick to that element of doing a core song with a breakdown in it kind of thing? Why are you always evolving?
I think it's just important as songwriters and as people to enjoy what you do. And I think the not that we don't enjoy writing that heavy stuff, we do. It's just the enjoyment comes from sort of like the first time you do something and there's that buzz and that excitement of like, oh, that's exciting. Like, oh, we've just touched on something cool. Like, let's open that door and go down there. I think the records we've done are always going to be there. They're always going to be important. It's going to be so important to me. That it's important to evolve and to try and create these new things. There's plenty of bands out there that are ripping off Tom Sells riffs. It we don't need to be one of those bands. You know, we were lucky enough to have him writing those important, huge records for us. It's about where we are now as a band, and where we are, as you say, with Josh, who's such an incredible guitarist, and he's a different guitarist to Tom. He's a different songwriter to Tom, and you know, Tom was our main songwriter, and now it is Dan and Josh and myself, and we're you know, we are what we are now, and that's all you can be, and just try and be the best version of what you can be, and you know, we're never going to turn our back on what we've done, and you know, I love those albums so much. I'm never going to turn around and be like, I don't like heavy music, I don't like that. Like, I love it, it's so important to me, but what's important to me now is trying these new things and getting that excitement, and yeah, pushing ourselves, and you know, it's what I love about those bands that you've mentioned. You know, being brave enough in this climate to do this stuff, to push yourself, and to kind of be like, well, we're gonna get some shit for this, but who cares? It's my band. It's our band. It's what we want to do, and you know, I feel like it's people don't have to like everything, and that's fine, and it's the you don't have to like it, but you don't have to have a go at me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, that's what I always think.
Opinions like assholes, everyone's got one, and unfortunately the internet and doom scrolling, as you know, your song title on the new album, everyone just wants to get on there and have their voices heard and feel I don't know, verified or validated in their opinion, even if everyone in the comment section is against what they're saying, kind of thing.
Shocking gets the likes.
Exactly.
And being horrible gets the likes and gets people noticed, and you know, the nice comments of people saying how important the record is to them, or whatever, doesn't get that engagement, because it doesn't outrage people. So yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap the interview up on a spot that's probably going to make you hate me. So let's see where this leads. I want to put you on the spot right here and go, if you had to choose between securing a melodic metal collaboration with the one and only Paul McCartney, your hero, your idol, your
God,
holy grail, your God. Yes, that's it. If you had the pick between doing that, but it would mean that you could never release another song with a breakdown or a BLEGH in it, could you?
Yes.
Yes? You leave it all behind and go straight for that?
Fuck yeah. Of course. Fucking of course, man. All day. That's why, to even be in the same room as him, you know, I would probably do that. You know, I mean, obviously, I love being in a heavy band, and I love breakdowns, but I do love the Beatles a lot more. You know.
Well, look, you played in Abbey Studios. You've obviously got so close. Surely there's, in some way, shape, or form, a collaboration or someone being able to hook you guys up. Surely
something will happen at some point. I'm sure there'll be the universe works in weird ways. You know, I think it's one of those things where you're like, you just got to not force it. I think something will hopefully happen where we're in the same room one day, and I can say, "Hey, you were pretty good at."
No, you won't, Sam. You'll lose it like I do with you.
I can say you were pretty good at writing songs, but you and John Lennon, why didn't you do a BLEGH?
Yeah.
And he'll be like,
who the fuck are you? Get away, blacklisted from every show in future.
Yeah, never allowed near me again. The Beatles had their I was saying this the other day, like when in the 60s, I guess they had that like woo, where they'd like shake their hair and do the woos. That's their BLEGH.
There's an idea, a progression of where BLEGH came from and where it originated all the way back to the Beatles. There you go. There's your thesis for later.
And they dropped doing that, so we're okay.
Well, look, for the eagle-eyed fans, there is a BLEGH in the new album. I'm not going to tell you on which song or where it is, because it is a very juicy surprise that you need to listen to when it comes out. The classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit, released October 21. Sam Carter from Architects. It's always a pleasure, mate. Thank you.
This is me putting the shades on because of the BLEGH. You know, this is the return of this is the BLEGH attitude. This is what the BLEGH does. No, yeah, it's really fun, man. I'm glad that that's back, and you know, it's funny. It's funny that it means so much to people, and I didn't know. I didn't know.
Look, On the last album, it was good to venture away from it because it showed a sense of maturity. On this one here, the little reference that you had to it was perfect because it's just like, I know you want this, you're gonna get a little taste for it here, and then that's it. We're moving on to the music, but where it was placed is fucking perfect. I heard it and had to go back and start the song again because I wanted to hear it again.
Yeah, it's a really fun bit, isn't it? It's a real like. I was when we were doing it, I was kind of likening it to like people like reacting to it when it goes into that bit and people being like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah,
and then that bit hitting and then being like, oh,
there it is. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Oh, fine. Yeah, they can do what they want. So yeah, that's why it's there. It's a real fun song.
That's all I need from you, mate. Get out of here. Go have a bloody beautiful day. All right.
Thank you so much, mate. It's an absolute pleasure to see you.